What's up there, my childrens? It is your big uncle, the Al Bundy of Expat Relocation.
Girl, I wanted to be a ballerina.
Ballerina? You sure are my nutcracker.
And I'm here tonight to bring you some wisdom from Teacher Paul. We got Teacher Paul's in the house, you know. Today we're going to talk a little bit about what we see in the industry this year. Teacher Paul's been back in the job market. Everybody knows my wife, Mish, if you're not new to the show. And she also was in the market since we've been back. And I have been helping people find jobs all throughout the school year. And I can tell you a little bit about what that looks like. So before we get into the whole teacher wisdom, I want to remind you, it's good to not get hemmed up in a developing country without health insurance. So our sponsor for our video is Safety Wing. What's up, guys? I'm in Mysore, India. I'm chilling with this cow here. If this cow were to give me mad cow disease, I would want to have health insurance. And if you're going to live as an expat, you're going to want to have health insurance too. He's either biting me or licking me. He's licking me. Aw, hello.
You're so cute.
See, if I get sick from touching this cow, I want to have health insurance, right? So Safety Wing is a good health insurance for people like me who travel around the world and live in interesting places. I'm covered. If I get sick in India, at least I got health insurance. Safety Wing is designed for people who move around and who travel, so it's the perfect health insurance for people who live our kind of lifestyle. Let's paint a little picture for you guys. You're coming to Vietnam. You're not sure what you're about to get yourself into. You want to have at least someone who's honest with you. There's a lot of crazy people in Facebook groups. There's trolls. I have had problems with people get obsessed with me, people who start claiming crazy shit about me I've never even met. And so I know how hard it can be to find legitimate, calm, and straightforward information about a decision that you're trying to make that means a lot to you. So if that sounds like you, this is the video for you to watch, because we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in Vietnam as far as teaching right now.
I am Teacher Paul, and I am actually in Vietnam right now in Vung, making a living teaching the Englishes to the Utes and the youngins.
Utes
And youngins. Had a pretty good work going right now. It's pretty easy. It's building. It's pretty relaxing place to live. And
what kind of hours are you getting?
I work pretty full weekends. I've got hours on the weekdays, and those hours are starting to build. So I got about 14 hours going right now. I'm hoping to get up to 20. But I'm also I'm not desperate for work. I'm just taking work that I like, work that's easy, that I can just go in and do my thing and come back. All the lessons are there for me. I can walk. I walk to work every day. It's pretty low stress, pretty nice. I'm building it up, but I'm building it up the way I want it. I'm building it up with the kind of work I want, and it's worth doing that. Never know what you're gonna get here.
What are you making in terms of an average? You don't have to give an exact number, but was there different jobs? So I imagine they're all paying slightly different things. What's a range that you're making out here in Vung Tau per hour?
I make $18 an hour.
Okay, and do you see jobs that are paying much more or a little bit less? Because you've been out there looking around this market pretty deeply.
Yeah.
Give us a range. Give us an idea of what a typical native speaker coming out here looking for a job might encounter.
Well, the lowest I saw was $420. So it's 25,000 to the dollar roughly. So the lowest I saw was $420. I made that at a kindergarten that I did for a few times, and I did it for another school that I worked at. I saw one job that was going to pay $500, which is about $20 an hour, but they wanted me to do slides and plans, and no, I don't do that. I mean, some people don't mind doing that stuff.
No, I feel it.
But no, I don't. I didn't really want to do that. So the pay I get is pretty good for how easy the work is, and I enjoy it. I don't. When I say easy, I don't. It's not like I just sit there and take a nap at the table. I mean, I enjoy what I do, but I'm also appreciated at the schools I work at. We get along pretty well, so I enjoy the work. And last month was the first month where I really paid attention to my budget, and even with some splurging and stuff, I was able to live on about $600 after rent and everything.
Are you getting your hours all at one place or at two places?
Two places.
And they're both paying 18?
Yep.
That's not bad for a city like Vung Tau. It's a lot cheaper here than in Saigon. Saigon really does experience inflation. Like, the rest of Vietnam, it's much, much cheaper. And Vung Tau is still one of the cheaper places in like the coastal part of Vietnam because, it is so close to Ho Chi Minh City that it's not necessarily like the cleanest, nicest beach. It's not like Da Nang where it's attracting all these international tourists, but although it is changing, but it is still close to Ho Chi Minh. So for people who are looking to teach, you're still very close to like a large economy. And now Bin Yong and Baria are going to be administered by Ho Chi Minh City. So this is all going to become Saigon this month. So I'm not sure when the video will come out, guys, but at the filming of this video, they're going to be incorporating Baria province and Bin Yong province into Saigon. They're still going to have regional capitals, but they're going to be under the group administration of Ho Chi Minh City. So that means all these years of me trying to get out of Saigon and going to places like Vung Tau, right? I can't escape now because when I go to Vung Tau, I'm still going to be in Saigon.
So what kind of changes do you think that's going to bring to Vung Tau? What kind of major changes?
I think there's going to be a lot more investment coming out here. Like, I think you're going to see the port get scaled up. I think you're going to see the airport is going to be a big game changer. I just think in general, because of the proximity to Saigon, and it's like the only place that really does have coastline and like some kind of touristy attractions. Like, you guys can kind of think of Vung Tau a little bit like Coney Island in New York, or maybe a little bit similar to like, like kind of like a Venice Beach in California, like this type of thing. It's like, it's the urban beach, it's the beach that's the closest to Saigon. It's definitely not the nicest beach place, not at all, but it is an economy. So even though you have a laid back vibe, which is increasingly becoming less laid back as the population grows, is becoming more like Saigon, it's still so much like less crowded, less polluted. Let's talk a little bit about some of the benefits of a place like Saigon. Now, I know a lot of people would say, well, duh, I want to go to Vung Tau because Vung Tau has like, fresh air and there's a couple places to go hiking and you can make pretty decent money. But there are some drawbacks. Like, it's a much smaller market. Like, Saigon is the kind of place where you can really fill up your day, like doing kindergartens, doing public schools, doing training centers. There's just a training center like almost every 50 meters. Like, there's so much employment opportunity. Now, that being said, like, it is definitely like not equal for everyone. Like, if you're coming from a non-native speaking country and you're not white, it's going to be not what I'm describing for you. Like, there might be some jobs that will hire you if you're qualified, like if you have the papers and the degrees, because they can't find like people that they want to hire to fill those degrees, like requirements. But, Vietnam's official requirements to teach here can be kind of complicated and expensive. You have to get a lot of authentication. You went through that process, right?
The work permit
of getting all your stuff legalized. And
yeah, it was a nightmare.
Tell us about it a little bit.
The thing is, it was a lot of hoops to jump through. And I don't mind jumping through the hoops. Problem is this. If the school screws it up, it's your fault. Mm-hmm. If the government screws it up, it's your fault. You pay. You're the one that gets punished no matter what. So, the school I worked for before, they did a good job. We had everything done in a month. So I came in on a business visa that was good for 3 months because they gave me a letter and everything. And then we had everything done in a month. And we submitted everything, and then you don't hear from the government. You don't hear from them. You don't hear from them. You don't hear from them. Meanwhile, my visa's getting ready to go delinquent, so I had to pay out of pocket to renew the thing, right? And it was pretty stressful because if, again, you're kind of at their mercy. So then I had it, and it was fine. But of course, then you're attached at the hip to the job you're working at. When I left that job, I had to pay to get rid of the work permit. Mm-hmm. And I had to leave the country no more than a week after I submitted this stuff. But then you submit it and you're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting. And, they got it back to me, with 2 days to spare. And you have no idea if it'll come. I think the bottom line is I do not trust the competence, the overall competence of the systems in place, whether it's the work or the government, to do everything correctly in a way that, that I won't have to pay for it. So I'm much more comfortable taking care of my own. Let's just put it that way.
So that's my point a little bit. Like, for people who are non-white, non-native speakers, like if you have all your documents and you can satisfy the legal pathway to getting hired, then it might be a little bit better for you in that circumstance, because in a lot of situations, these employers that you'll find in different parts of the market, they'll prefer to hire teachers in a more informal kind of way where there's like a cash situation. They might still get you work permit, they might still get you TRC and get you legal, but it'll be some sort of like kind of a gray situation. And the government tolerates it because they need the teachers and they need the people to improve the English as, you know, Vietnam becomes a closer partner with the West. So it's not that the government doesn't know that you're teaching without a degree. Like, I mean, they're well aware. They just don't give a shit. Like it has like a net benefit for their country. So for now, they're looking the other way. It's a little bit like how China was under the previous administration and how their mindset was about, you know, business and dealing with the West. That's where Vietnam's at now. And this is a really interesting time to be here. And they still do have a lot of respect for the West. So like if you're coming from like a place like the UK, the US, especially if you're white and you're young, especially if you're like blonde, white and young, like you can really get some good opportunities out here. But even if you're not white, but you're from like a strong passport country like the US, you know, Australia, New Zealand, one of these places, you know, these countries that the Vietnamese consider to be like native speaking, high value countries, you know, you can walk into a lot of opportunities that would maybe never exist to you in your own country. Here you can have that access. Like when I was teaching in Saigon, I was in the public schools, but I was also doing some high-end training centers. I was teaching doctors. I was teaching architects. You know what I mean? Like you meet these people who in the West, you know, you just don't have the same exact access that you do here. Would you say that's true?
I think so. Yeah, I agree with that. Definitely.
So teacher Paul, he taught in China and Cambodia. So he's not, you know, he's not green to this. So he can give you guys a little bit of insight in what he's experienced so far out here. Like and again, I can talk to you a little bit about what's going on in Saigon, but the main thing that you guys want to take away from anything to do with a place like Vietnam is that it's constantly changing, and that for the most part, like what's possible today may not be possible in like a year or in 2 years. So anything you see on any YouTube video, you should always kind of take it with a little bit of a grain of salt because things are constantly changing here. And I found over the years, like I've heard all these things are supposed to be like impossible and, oh, it's never going to happen. And I've seen the impossible happen in this country. So, you know, it's one of the things that I do warn people about. Like if you're looking for a place that's like really feels stable as a foreigner, you're never really going to feel super stable out here, but you can get money and you can really level up out here. Like what is your lifestyle like? Like, what's your ideal like income to like save money out here? How much teaching hours a week would that be for you?
Well,
like right now, you said you're getting how much? 14?
yeah, I built it up to 14. The thing is, like, I'm being pretty picky in a way. You know, when I first came, I started this process to go all in with this one school, and they ended up being disappointing. So I finally took a step back and said, okay, you know what? I'm gonna try out a number of different schools. I'll work part-time here, work part-time there, find the ones I like, and then lock in. The ones I'm at now, I like, and when I like, being that I like the work and it's not stressful and I actually enjoy it, I'd like to do up to maybe 20 or 25 hours. And I'm working up to that.
And you could save good money like that doing 25 hours a week
easily. Cost of living here is extremely low.
And your cost of living, what kind of lifestyle are you getting for what you're paying?
Yeah, I live in a very nice room in a very nice neighborhood. It's clean. It's clean. It's quiet, but it's near a lot of stuff. Have a good variety of food. I eat pretty healthy. I mean, it's a pretty easygoing life, and I have enough money. Even with what I'm making right now, I have enough money to go and party in Phnom Penh every 6 weeks if I want to. I mean, I go there every 3 months generally, but I kind of want to go every 6 weeks because I like it there. So yeah, I live a clean, comfortable, easygoing life here, and then every 6 weeks or whatever, I go to maybe Ho Chi Minh or Phnom Penh to party. If I wanted to live like I did in America, I'd just be in America. There's things out here I like.
Sure.
There's reasons I'm out here.
Sure.
You know, it's not like this is the only place in the world where I can find work. There's things here.
So
I like.
let's talk about that. Let's talk about that because there's a lot of people who are haters who will talk shit and will try to say, oh, you just get people that work illegally in Vietnam. Teacher Paul has a master's degree. Teacher Paul is a real teacher, and we still work together and cooperate. Teacher Paul sees the value. He was a client before becoming a good friend and a confidant, and you can see that like he is fully qualified and that he even taught within the United States at one point, right? You were actually a real teacher.
Yeah. I taught in science and math in the U.S. for like my first 5 years started my career, you know, and long story short, I ended up moving to China in 2011 just because, I was kind of disenchanted with the States. I didn't really know why. And my cousin, who was living in China at the time, came out to Christmas to visit, and we got talking. He said, "You should try China." And I did, and I loved it. And I've been in Asia ever since. That was 2011. So
Hard. Yeah. I mean, I understand it, man. Like, I get these points where I like to go to like Eastern Europe or do something, or India, or do something a little bit different. But like, this is a nice place to be able to come back to whenever I need to like regroup, or if I want to make a little bit of money. The thing with this part of the world, guys, is like there's becoming less and less places where you can go and do this kind of thing, where you can go and have this kind of like much higher than the locals kind of income, because China, their economy is not doing good right now with the sanctions and with the tariffs that are going on them. I have friends in China. It's becoming increasingly hard to get people jobs, and the jobs that are there, yeah, there's some that pay very well and they are very easy, but it's not like it was maybe 10 years ago where you could rock up and just anybody could get those jobs. Now those jobs are, instead of 20 hours, those jobs are more like 40 hours. Now those jobs will actually expect you to do stuff. Vietnam's one of these places where you can still find these kind of like low responsibility jobs. The visas aren't like so crazy, like it's still somewhat manageable. And there's a lot of opportunity out here. It's a developing country, but it's developing so fast. I've watched them build this country. Like, I've been here now for almost a decade, and I've just watched them just develop and develop. It's so crazy to see how much it's changed. Cambodia too, guys. There's just so much capital flowing into this part of the world. So whether you want to live here for the rest of your life, or you just need to go somewhere for a bit to get your money sorted, like, Southeast Asia is always going to offer you like one of the safest environments in the world, the opportunity to possibly make cash, make money. You are going to give up some stuff. You're going to give up some things that you may not occur to you at first, but over time will become more clear. You might give up some stuff for health because of air pollution, traffic, food pollution. But there's trade-offs too. Like you can have a real lifestyle here and still work on projects and take care of yourself, and like still make enough to like save a little bit of money if you're responsible here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's not for everybody. I know. I think, it's something worth trying. There's a lot of different kinds of jobs here too. That's the thing. Like the work that I do, the work that I choose to do, that choice is honed over 14 years of working some pretty shitty jobs at times.
Right on.
So I know exactly what I'm looking for in a school. I know exactly the kind of work I want to do. Now, if you're the kind of person that loves making slides and writing lesson plans and doing all the tedious stuff, then those jobs are there too, man. And they'll pay a little more for you to do that.
Oh, definitely.
Kind of thing. Of course, you can international schools out here. You can do those. I just, for me, I've done a lot of science and math teaching. I just like teaching English, man. It's easy going. It's low stress. And if I find a situation I like, I can put in 25, 30 hours or more every week of class time. It doesn't bother me one bit, But I'd rather be doing that than like sitting around at home typing up slides and making plans. I did all that shit plenty of times, and I just don't like it. I like the class time with the people.
Yeah, I never did any of that throughout my whole teaching. I never did any like preparation.
No, and I've never really had to do it. The English jobs I choose ones that don't make me do that. But of course, I've taught a lot of science and math, so there's a lot of that involved. And I don't know. I just like this more.
So, guys, this is my point. You'll hear them talk shit about me online. You'll hear people run their mouth, but over the years, I maintained friendships with clients for like a long time. Like some people I've been friends with now for years. And I always come at it when I try to help somebody find a job in this country. I always try to help them find low responsibility jobs. Now, I also have connections in bigger schools, and I know people who can find you jobs pretty much of any kind that you're looking for, depending on what your qualifications are. But I generally try to stick to the lower responsibility. Like they're not going to like be trying to work you as much. Now it's tough, like I said, because people don't like to talk about it, but Vietnam is crazy racist in hiring, and this is something that the left is trying to poison the minds of the people in the West. They try to tell you that white people they're evil and they're racist. White people are the least racist people on earth, bar none. We let everybody live in our societies. We let everybody naturalize. These countries in East Asia, like it is not like that here. It's a monoculture. It's a majority rule. kind of mindset. And, that's true in every country in the region. So, you're not going to come out here and you're not going to become one of them. You're not going to naturalize, but they'll let you be out here. And if you do right by them, they'll do right by you. I mean, if you think about what you're getting out of Vietnam, you're getting an opportunity to live in an inexpensive country. You're getting an opportunity to, make a lot more money than the locals. And this is the gripe I have with a lot of non-native speakers who are from developing countries. Like they'll be from countries like Africa or in the Middle East, and they'll start saying how, oh, the native speakers are this or the native speakers are that, or oh, I have better grammar or blah blah blah, like this nonsense. Like anybody wants their kids to go study in Nigeria. Like anybody in Vietnam right now is really dreaming of sending their kids to study English in Syria. They're thinking of sending their kids to Australia. They're thinking of sending their kids to America. They're thinking, of Europe. So like the what the parents are paying for is not only that they're getting to hear the native speaker talk and to have a communication with the native speaker, but they're also going to get exposed to their culture. So they'll have a little bit of an idea what it might be like to go to school in those countries or to do business in those countries. And Vietnam and the West are moving closer together. You can see it with the recent F-16 deal that is being negotiated. So I mean, our countries are going to grow closer and closer, and I think it's going to be the opposite of China. Like the demand for English teachers is still going to be there for a while. I don't see them like shutting down the industry. I don't really see them cracking down on like English teachers working and getting paid cash. More and more, it seems like what Vietnam's trying to do is to stop like the money laundering. Like they don't want the companies paying people cash because they don't want them not paying taxes. But it seems like they really like even every year you hear like, oh, the next year we may not be able to get teachers, jobs if they don't have degrees. And every year there's like still like a need to fill like 200 public schools in Ho Chi Minh. And every year we're still able to get them jobs. So it's not that I tell people like, oh, come teach illegally. It's like they need to fill these positions. The Vietnamese want to hire white native speakers. So they're a little picky. So sometimes it's like, well, you can't always get the young white blonde native speaker who also has a master's degree and also has a TEFL.
I want to make an important point here to your point. Let me tell you something. The people talk about legal and illegal like it's some kind of moral compass of some sort. There's a lot less risk, and the way I see it from the processes I've been through, there's a lot less risk doing things illegally than there is in doing them legally, because you're dealing often with schools and always with the government here. Mm-hmm. Whether I can say that or not, Misha can edit that if you want, that is rife with incompetence. And again, if they mess up, you're the one who pays. So it's not that they're out to get you, but they're really not all that motivated not to fuck it up because you're the one who pays for it. Mm-hmm. There's no accountability on that. So to me, I think a person might, doing it I think, I made my point, right? It's better to do it illegally sometimes. It's called illegally, but all it really is like being paid under the table. But the right paperwork, I've been through that process. I'm not saying I'm working illegally now. I'm just saying I've been through the process, and it's not reliable.
So I would add to that I would not use the word illegally as much as unofficially.
Unofficially.
Because Vietnam, again, I think these people tend to be a little naive. I think they think like that anybody within the Vietnamese government really gives a flying fuck about some like 22-year-old Australian that's like teaching in a public school. I mean, this is about as low on their list of priorities that they care about. Yeah. I have a friend who's Vietnamese, and I remember years ago, I was thinking like, oh, are they ever going to shut down this industry and da-da-da-da, and we were chatting about it. And he was kind of telling me, he's like, man, like, English teaching is a big business here, but it's still such a tiny niche when you think about what the government is dealing with in terms of like international trade, running a country, right? Like, so they have to prioritize what's important to them, and they want their country to speak better English. So looking the other way while some foreigners teach on tourist visas, like it's kind of part of the course. Like, because if they didn't want it, they'd shut it down.
And now, yeah, and the thing is too that if they really want people to stop doing that, they need to get their act together.
Well, they could.
They are stunningly incompetent when it comes to dealing with stuff. I'm just going to say it. I mean, it takes them forever to do everything. They fuck it up sometimes. Again, you're the one who pays. They got to get their act together if they don't want people doing that, because they're not motivating people to do it the right way by bumbling, rumbling, stumbling through shit like they do now.
So,
I mean, it's bad.
So that's the problem. So like that I think has been the problem for a pretty long time in Vietnam, is that there's a very bureaucratic process to be legal. It creates a lot of barriers, yet they have this demand in this industry, and it's a good industry. It's a net positive. And I always say, people will start screaming like, oh, they don't have a degree in pedagogy, so they shouldn't be a teacher. But it's like, who do you think's going to teach in like a Tan Phu public school?
Well, yeah, but you know, people who start a sentence where they shouldn't be a teacher because,
yeah,
you better have some pretty extreme examples. Because if it comes down to methodology, why don't you come out here and try it first? Yeah, you know,
yeah.
Let's
see how that works.
Don't get high and mighty like they don't have this, they don't have that. You're not qualified. Relax on that.
Yeah,
so try teaching in a few places before you get high and mighty. On that
before,
shit,
yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah. Just start realizing
experience it, live there. Don't be a tourist. Live in a few places. Teach in a few places. Rely on these people. Pay rent to them. You know, all that stuff. Pay taxes. You got to be immersed in the society before you're even qualified to throw that shit out.
So there's so many people who come out here with very naive understandings of Southeast Asia, like very idealistic, and a lot of times they don't last, or they just stay in expat bubbles. Like I know some people who work into international schools, but they live in expat bubbles, and they kind of like have like a very expat bubble understanding of the country. And like, I think that it in Southeast Asia, it's really a question of like, how deep do you want to go? Do you just want to live in a cheap place and like have a superficial relationship with that place, or do you really want to like understand it? And if you want to really understand it, you have to be realistic about the good things and the bad things. And like the bureaucracy is one of the bad things, and it does create an incentive to keep the foreigners unofficial. And it does, and you know, when people get snobby about, like we were talking about pedagogy, right? Like the reality of what teaching here is a lot of this is a business. A lot of this is about generating like return customers. It's not about necessarily like educating people. And if you have this attitude that you're going to change that, or you're going to somehow like educate them in a way that is not what the center or the school is looking for you to do, you're going to have a really hard time out here.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, totally. And there isn't any one person that's going to be a good fit at every school.
No.
My brand of doing things, when I fit in with a school, I fit in well. They can't get enough of me. But some schools I just don't fit in with. And I don't, just with how I do my things. And I don't even bother trying to fit in with those schools anymore. I can tell pretty right, I would say right away, almost right away, pretty soon after we talk, whether or not it's going to work. Mm-hmm. So the schools I'm working for now, it's working great because I'm a good fit. The one I was with before that I thought I might go all in with, not a good fit. I'm not going to try it. I'm not going to bend over backwards to make it work in a school where I'm not a good fit, because it's not worth it. It's kind of weird. Like, I've had a lot of times where I wanted to make things work at a particular school in the past, and just, you know, throughout my Asian career, if you will. And like, it's almost like it doesn't really matter in a way. You know, like you're a good fit or you're not. You could bust your hump and do everything, be in early, mid, da, 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 da. If it's not a good fit, it doesn't matter anyway. Find a school where you're a good fit, and then just do what you do. Don't try. I'm going to say don't try too hard. Like I said, while I'm in the room, I enjoy myself and I am busy the whole time, and I'm making sure everybody's getting what they need. But I don't bend over backwards, and because I don't have to, because they appreciate me for who I am. That's the kind of school you want to find. A school that appreciates you for who you are, how you do your things.
Do you not know what you want to do with yourself? Come sit on your big uncle's knee. Big Uncle is offering Big Uncle coaching packages now. So if you want advice on how to pick yourself up and dust yourself off, how to change your life, how to look at the world in a different way, you need somebody to reflect your ideas off of. Big Uncle is now offering Big Uncle coaching packages. So reach me on the Facebook fan page or any of the contact information in any of the social media. We also do hourly expat consulting, as well as helping you to change your life and to do something different with yourself, and to pull your shoes up and to tie your socks and to make sure you eat your vegetables and you treat your mother right. So as far as for teaching in Vietnam, would you say that after the time you spent in Cambodia, China, would you say, because I always feel like this is something that I say, that Vietnam is kind of the best compromise in the region if you want lifestyle and income?
I would say, yeah. I would say it is a pretty good compromise right now. I was in China 2011 to 2020, and it was pretty good. It was really good. But now, I mean, the regime right now and all the things going on with America, which is where we're from and everything, I wouldn't want to live there right now. I got a couple friends that still live there. I wouldn't want to do it. Cambodia, I love Phnom Penh. You know that.
Yeah,
I love Phnom Penh. However, the work is rough. It's rough. And I'm going to tell you something too. I was reading this thing the other day. There was this job thread I was looking at, and somebody said, "Oh, this job's been there a while," and somebody made the comment along the lines of, "Well, sometimes they have a hard time filling them because these schools are poor, and that people aren't willing to accept those salaries." Let me tell you something. A lot of those poor schools, the one I worked at, especially, I say at least, the women drove up in a Mercedes. The owner of the school showed up to parent-teacher conference day in a Mercedes. So that's bullshit. The owner's making money.
Of course.
Yeah, the owner's making money. So eliminate that shit. Oh, caress the poor. No. They're making money. So the teaching work there is rough. There's a couple good schools, but if you're not going to work for those, it's not even worth it. Yeah, so my answer to that is yes. I think Vietnam provides a pretty good mix of quality of living, amount of money you make compared to cost of living, acceptance by the locals overall. Again, you're never going to be one of them, but they're nice to you.
They're tolerant.
It's tolerant.
Yeah.
As long as you smile and you're polite, you're not going to get treated poorly most of the time, at least here in Vung Tau anyway. So yeah, I would agree with that. I think it is. It's that nice middle ground right now. And again, things could change, but right now it's not bad.
So everything here operates on like two levels. And I think this is where you're never going to get people who are really honest about this. And it triggers some people because they want to believe that their gender studies degree somehow makes them more capable of saying duck, duck, duck to a room of 50, third graders, right? So you're going to have those people, no matter what, are never going to be happy, right? And there may come a day where maybe Vietnam's had enough of having the foreigners around. Maybe the English level, it reaches where it needs to reach to where they can start using their own teachers. And, that may happen. I don't think it's going to happen super soon, but it could happen at some point.
Well, I think the demand's only going to go up because
right now, definitely.
It definitely seems like, I get the feeling anyway, I'm no expert. I get the feeling though that the U.S. is starting to look much more favorably on other Asian countries to make up for China.
Yes.
And I think Vietnam is going to be a major winner in that competition.
They're calling Vietnam the next Japan.
Yeah, and and if that happens, of course, or if that happens, then I think that demand is going to go up even more. You
guys might think I'm tripping, but if North Korea ever opens up, like if they ever became like tolerant or liberal enough to allow foreigners in, I would be on the first plane.
Sure.
Because you saw how fast South Korea went from like a dictatorship and turned into like one of the most modern and like developed countries in the world. Mm-hmm. They did that shit like within a generation. So I think Vietnam is capable of the same. I think there's some challenges that prevent Vietnam from being quite like a Korea, but it's still like, you can see it. You can see that things have gotten a lot better. And you can see that not just for like the expats, but also for Vietnamese people, that if you compare it to some of the neighboring countries in the region, Vietnamese standard of living is not that bad. Like there is still like an absurd difference between rich and poor, but it's not quite as bad as in Cambodia. I think it's maybe like almost on par with Thailand. Maybe it's a little better for people here because even though like Saigon is quite an expensive city, most of the people who I've met from Vietnam who've gone over to Thailand, they find it to be like very similar, and the Vietnamese and the Thai have like a pretty positive attitude about each other. Like it's interesting, and more you're seeing Vietnamese people that are starting to travel around neighboring countries, like younger people especially. I'm not just talking about people going there to do business or whatever. I'm talking about like younger people are now visiting Chiang Mai, visiting Bangkok from here. So, things are changing in this part of the world, guys. And if you're in a place in the West, I should stress this. If you're in a place in the West where you've experienced like extreme decline, the globalists have just sucked the life out of your community. Your government is trying to, erase you from the world and replace you with the degenerates of the global South. you can come to these countries, and I don't want you guys to be closed-minded. Like sometimes like we look at a country and we'll in the West and we'll be very judgmental of a country based on its immigrants or based on the people who are coming over illegally to our country. But the countries that they're coming from themselves might actually be like okay places. It's just you're meeting the people who are not successful in those countries. That's why they're coming over to our country, because things are not working for them where they come from. But like India, for example, it gets a pretty bad rep on the world stage, but there's a few places that I like to go there a lot. And then, like I found the people to be nothing like the stereotypes that I heard about the country. So, you know, you don't want to be too rigid in your thinking, you know, like you want to be flexible. The world's changing. We're coming into this globalization, whether we like it or not. Hopefully we can prevent globalism. But I think at this point, it's impossible to like fully put the cat back in the bag. We're all connected.
Brush your face and wash your teeth, son.
Reborn abroad helped me retire in Vietnam.
Reborn abroad got me a job in Vietnam.
Reborn abroad got me a job in Vietnam.
Years later, we're still friends, so hit us up.
Reborn abroad, they're legit. They got me a job. I'm pretty happy.
Reborn abroad got me a job in Vietnam.
Reborn abroad got me a job.
Brush your teeth.
Hey, what's up? I'm D from Canada. Hook up with the New York Nomad if you want a smooth ride into Vietnam or any Southeast Asian countries.
Hey, my name is Aaron. Get in contact with the New York Nomads. If you want to get into Vietnam, hit them up. They'll get you in securely and professionally.
Yo, this is Uncle Hollywood. I'm telling you right now, the New York Nomad got me a job. He's legit. Hit him up. Check him out.
New York Nomad set me up in Vietnam.
Yo, my man got me a job. Come to Vietnam.
Hey, what's up, guys? You thinking about coming to Vietnam? You're not sure where to start. You've heard a lot of things online. You don't know what's true. You don't know what's not. We offer a consulting service where we help you get on your feet in Vietnam. We give you advice on negotiating contracts with employers. We help you with real estate agents, visa agents that are reliable and that you can trust. We help you get started in this amazing country and get on your feet. We help you get into different opportunities that might be more difficult for you if you were just landing in the country on your own. And we help you avoid a lot of the pitfalls and problems that you could have as a newcomer here. We provide you with reliable job recruiters, visa agents, real estate agents, and advice. If you guys are thinking about coming to Vietnam, hit us up for a consultation. We'll help you get started, help you get on your feet, and hopefully you'll love Vietnam as much as we do.